Hello, welcome. Hi, come on in. Welcome to the impromptu live show today. Gonna give it just a minute, but I'm gonna be making this little mini today. Move this out of the way so it's easier to see. Hope you can hear me okay. This mini takes basically 2.5 pieces of 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and it has about a 1/4 inch bit of a gusset in 2 different spots here, so that you can put some thicker like Polaroid photos or chipboard embellishments or something like that, or something that's very layered. And I have, like I said, it takes about 10 to 15 minutes to make the base, and way less than an hour to cover the whole thing with the cardstock, and even put a little tag in the pocket. So, and this can be made with 2 pockets or just the one like I have it here, and then it has this extra little flip to put 3 more photos. It can hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 4x4 photos, 6 4x4 photos, and actually 3 more, but these will be nicely matted if they're 3x3 instead of 4x4. So that's what I'll be putting together today, and I'm using this Farm to Table pack. This is a Cartabella pack, of course my favorite, Stephen Duncan. And I'm also going to be making one out of this Botanical Gardens. So to recreate this red base, I'm going to use 3 pieces of 8.5 by 11 red cardstock today. This is, I think, an 80-pound cardstock. And the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to cut 2 pieces that are 5 1/4 by 11. I'm looking at my instructions and figuring out this math, and that is not right. We are going to cut this down at 5 1/4 by 8 1/2. So we are going to get 2 cuts that are 5 1/4, and this is already 8 1/2. The next piece is the same. Gonna cut it down so we have 2 pieces that are 5 1/4 by 8 1/2. And this third piece we're just gonna set aside because that's gonna embellish towards the end. We're going to go ahead and score these. Now, we are going to score one of the pieces. We're going to score 2 of the pieces at 5 1/4 and 5 3/4. So I have 5 1/4 and 5 3/4. Five 1/4 and 5 3/4. And these next 2 we're going to score a little differently, but both of these pages are going to have the same score marks. And they are going to be at 5 1/4 and 5 1/2. And again, 5 1/4 and 5 1/2. I'm just going to go ahead and burnish these. If you've just joined me, welcome in. I am just putting together this little mini album, and I will go over the dimensions and the cuts again in just a second. This takes 3 pieces of 8 1/2 by 11 cardstock, so 2 pieces actually for the base, which opens this way and opens this way with 1 pocket. And it has this little guide that I put in kind of at the last minute because I wanted to be able to add a couple more photos. So this will take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 photos that are up to 5 by 5, and then 3 that are up to 4 by 4. It takes about 10 minutes to put the base together, and then you can probably take as long as you want to cover your album. Hi, Tanya. How are you? Welcome. I am just furnishing my folds for my score lines now. I am making this little booklet. Takes 2.5 pages of 8.5 by 11. And it has space for 5 5x5 and 3 up to 4x4 photos. And then it has one pocket, but it can be made with 2 pockets. Today is a holiday here in the US, so I thought I might catch some people available. But not so far. I am at an odd time, but I thought I'd give it a go because I really didn't want to be on too late today anyway. So I am just going to burnish these. And these two, I am going to open up like this. So these are scored the same way at 5 1/4 and 5 3/4. I'm just going to flip them over here this way. And essentially, I am going to overlap them about 1/4 inch. That's not 1/4 inch. A little less than 1/4 inch, and glue them so that they have the front fold here, a 1/2 inch gusset, and another fold here, and a 1/2 inch gusset. So this is pretty easy, just eyeballing it. If you want to be precise, you could definitely draw a line. Gonna make my glue work. And we have our front and back. And these are the two that are scored at 5 1/4 and 5 1/2. And basically I am going to create a pocket with this piece. It's going to be right into the score line. just like that to create a pocket. And this is an extra page. So this 1/4 inch spine piece is going to sit inside this 1/2 inch spine piece, but right up against that score mark. Lift that up. Not quite. So now just a line of glue at the top and bottom to make our little pocket. This second piece is pretty close to the same, except that it's going to be up against this inside seam instead of the outside seam. So here I have my 5 1/4 mark and then my 5 3/4 mark. And this little guy is going to sit right in that 5 3/4 mark. So this can be made into a second pocket. First, I'm just going to glue this one little 1/4 inch piece together. I like to do it a little at a time just in case I have to realign it or pull it apart. That way I don't have to worry about having to pull a whole 1/2 of a sheet apart. Ooh, look at that. So of course this one could be glued at the top and the bottom and make a second pocket, just like we have this one here. But I went ahead and glued mine down. And I'm going to do that again, just because I wanted to make sure I could add another piece here to add some more photos in. But basically this is the base. And if we fold it, first we fold this left hand in, then both of these, and then this one. So it's designed to, I guess it really doesn't matter as long as it closes and you have enough room. But you can see that there's a pretty significant amount of room in between each page, which I really like. So that you can put thicker photos or matted photos, chipboard embellishments, or whatever you have. Maybe some items that are not flat that you pick up on your travels. So now we have our little book with the one pocket, and what I did here is I cut down 5 by 5 pieces. So just to speed up the process, I cut 10 pieces of the 6 by 6 paper. So I just pulled out the first 10. Actually, I think I ended up with 11 because there was a cut apart sheet, and then I just cut them down to 5 by 5, and that kind of speeds up the process. Once I have the pages all cut down to size, they tend to make up their mind of where they go pretty quickly. So in another minute here, I'm going to start another one, but I'm going to do the base in white. I was looking through this paper pad. It's Botanical Garden from Carta Bella. And it has a lot of really pretty colors in it, but I wasn't really sure what color was really kind of all the way through, aside of one of the greens, and I didn't really have any green plain cardstock that matched. Excuse me. But it has some blush pink, but when I put it up against my blush pink cardstock, it really has kind of a purple hue. But I wanted to get into this one and make something with it, so I decided to make one of these out of this set, or this collection. This is really the only thing that I have. I don't have any of the other ephemera or other bits, stickers or anything. So, but some of these larger florals are nice for fussy cutting and kind of putting on top, layering. So I'm gonna do that. So let's get started. I'm going to cut 2 pieces of cardstock. This is 8.5 by 11, and I'm going to cut both of these sheets down so we get 4 sections of 5 1/4 by 8.5. So there's 2. There's 2 more. Now that I have our 4 sheets of 5 1/4 by 8.5, these score marks are done 2 pages at a time. So the first 2 pages are scored at 5 1/4 and 5 3/4. Move that down. Again, 5 1/4 and 5 3/4. And then these last two are also done the same, but at 5 1/4 and 5 1/2. So I've got 5 1/4, 5 1/2, 5 1/4, and 5 1/2. Now I'm just gonna fold and burnish these guys. Okay. So I'm going to take my two pieces that have the 1/2 inch piece, that little scored section, and I am going to match them up by flipping one of them around. And these two essentially are going to overlap 1/4 of an inch. You can use the marks on your board, you can eyeball it, you could draw some lines and actually draw a 1/4 inch line all the way down. We just need them to overlap. And now I'm going to take one of the pieces that has the 1/4 inch section, and I am going to glue it up against this right side score line. Basically, I'm going to have this 1/4 of an inch scored section covering up the right part of this 1/2 inch section. Hopefully that makes sense. Basically, I am just going to glue down this one section first, though, just to make it easier in case I have to move it or reposition it. So I'm going to flip this up, and I'm going to lay this right in there. And then I'm going to put a line of glue on the top and bottom just to create our pocket. Now I'm going to glue this one in as well, and it's basically the same way. I'm going to glue this 1/4 inch piece into the seam here on the right side. This could be a second pocket, but I am going to I'm going to glue it down completely just like to start with that small section. I'm going to glue down the rest, but you see how this piece could definitely just be glue across the top and the bottom to make a second pocket. But I'm going to glue the whole thing. And that's the base. So, in order to cover the base of, or this booklet, I'm going to start by just pulling out 10 sheets of this paper pad that I'm using, which is the Botanical Garden. And these all, there are really 4 different colorways in here, but I am going to just kind of pull at random the ones that I like. And then I'm going to cut them down to 5 by 5. I'm going to do some that are a little not florally. So I feel like those. And maybe this green. 4, 5, 6. So I need 4 more. I will use these 2. I'm not a fan of this peachy color for some reason. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then this one I want to cut down to embellish the front cover. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these down to 5 by 5. I'll probably do them 2 or 3 at a time, depending on what my paper trimmer will handle here. Now this paper pad doesn't have any cut apart, so it doesn't have any obvious embellishments or things like the Farm to Table one had. The Farm to Table has 2 sheets of little cut aparts, so it made it easy to do the cover and then the back side. But you could definitely put another photo on the cover of one of these books if you didn't embellish it. So. Hi, Crystal. Thanks for joining. Happy Labor Day to you. Just putting a little mini together. So let's see here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to decide what's going to go in the middle here. So let's see. Probably something not too exciting, since I am going to have something else on top of it. So I'm just going to kind of glue this in the middle here as the mat for our first page. And the reason I'm doing this first is because now it is time to cut down the second part, or the last part of basically the base. So I have my last piece, so piece number 3 of my 8.5 by 11, and basically what I did is I cut down a section that is 4 1/4 by 8.5, and then I'm just going to score that at the middle. And that just makes a little half-fold booklet. That I'm going to glue right in the middle here. Now, of course, you could do this any orientation direction that you want to. But just going to do mine in the normal orientation of a booklet. And then this gave me an extra 3 photos. Basically an extra 2. Because there would already be 1 photo on this back piece. So there's that. I'm going to continue with these guys. Just covering our pages. Is there too much floral? There's so much floral. I don't know if this one has an orientation, but yeah, I think it's upside down. Nope. Next, let's try something a little darker over here. Ooh. More here. Never did decide what I wanted to put on the front. I'm going to put this one on the front. Okay. Let's do this one here. Mm-hmm. This one. And this last part is where I have the pocket. So I'm just gonna measure. The pocket is 2 3, just, no, it's almost 3 inches. So I'm gonna cut this down to about 2 3/4. And then I'll need to cut just a little bit off of the side here. So it kind of evens out. So we can put some little journaling cards or something in the pocket. And now I have these 3 little squares. So I need to cut 3 4-inch squares to fill those in. Let me see here. Oh, I thought I had an extra. So let's see. One, 2, 3. I'm just going to stack these and cut them all at once. If you've just joined and you're interested in seeing me create another base, just the base part, I can definitely do that, because it just takes a couple minutes as soon as I'm done covering the last bit of this one. So I'm going for 4 by 4. Well, oh, here, let's do that. I don't know which orientation this goes. They're all like that though. Right. Now I am just going to fussy cut a little something out of this sheet. Probably also go ahead and do the end pieces here. These are 1/2 inch, so I just need something that is 5 and a little under 1/2 inch. You can see I did those on this one. And of course I have a ton of these strips, so let's see here. These are already cut to 5. So let's see. Anybody have one of these paper trimmers that has a little lock for the bar? I started using it recently. Really, this particular piece, it helps a lot anyway, but I still use it. And this one. Just gonna glue these on. Hello Rita, thanks for joining. I'm just making a little mini. This little mini album takes about 10 minutes to make the base, less than an hour to put the whole thing together, and also has a pocket for a little card or some journaling cards, and this extra piece here for some photos or what have you. And it also comes ready with a little bit of a gusset inside so that you can put some thicker photos like the old school Polaroids, or some layered matted photos, or other ephemera that's not necessarily flat. And I am probably going to go ahead and just make a second base here in a minute. This one is almost done, but a couple people popped on, and I can show how to create the base again because it's super quick. Oh, this way, this way, this way. Okay, so I'm just going to glue these guys down. Thank you, Rita. Let's see. Oh, glue strands all stuck to my fingers. And this one. I think this one is a little too wide, but I'm going to make it fit. All right, that's better. I like that much better. And now I'm just going to fussy cut this guy out. I like to have different size. Do you make a lot of albums, Crystal, or little minis? I definitely like something that you can put, you know, like 5 to 8 photos in or so, just because a lot of times, you know, you want to, like, you see a friend, but just for a brief time, or you have coffee, or you're doing an activity and you don't have a ton of time where you stop and take photos. So maybe you just have a few photos. So I like something that's a little smaller and, you know, can make a nice quick gift also if you want to do that. Well, I am fussy cutting, but not really fussy style. I am just bubble cutting out these little things here. Paper keeps getting stuck under my rings. All right. Needs something. What does it need? Some of these guys? I think I'm just making visual clutter now. Oh, no? That's not too bad, huh? Hi, Chris. Thanks for joining. Welcome. So I can't decide about this little embellishment, but I think I'm going to set it aside for a while and decide on it later. But essentially, the little book is done, because definitely another photo could be in front here. And so there's the one side. Here's the side with the pocket, so it's got room for journaling cards. And 2 more pages, and then a little flip in the middle. So this is the one that I made yesterday out of the, what is this? Farm to Table. This one is really cute because I really love these images. But it has, like, look at those. How fun are those? They're just all refrigerators and stoves. But this is a Stephen Duncan one, and he does all of the little mid-century modern images that I really love. So there's that, and with the little flip in the middle. So I am going to go ahead and just make one more of the base here, just to show how fast it goes. So we just need 3 pieces of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. So with the 3 pieces, the first 2, I just take them, and they're already at 8.5, so I'm going to make us 4 sheets of 5 1/4 by 8.5. So that is just 2 cuts. So there we have 5 1/4 by 8.5, and then 2 more, of course, stacked together, 5 1/4 by 8.5. And then this other one I set aside for when we start to decorate. And the scoring is really easy. 2 sheets are going to be scored at 5 1/4 and 5 3/4. This one again, 5 1/4 and 5 3/4. Oop. And then these next 2 are going to be 5 1/4 and 5 1/2. So pretty close to the same. So I'm going to take these first 2 that we scored. So these are the ones that are scored at 5 1/4 and 5 3/4. And I'm going to burnish those. So now we have them folded and burnished. And basically we're going to take them and overlap them just a tiny bit in the middle. So I have them both with the same score marks and the same folds, and I just flip one around, and I'm going to overlap these two by 1/4 of an inch and glue them. So what I've done is I use the mat because I have the little score lines here, or the little lines. You can definitely use, you know, your ruler and pencil and just do a little bit of a line here so you know how far to overlap. You could also do kind of an extra score here that's 1/4 of an inch in if you wanted to do that. Whatever is comfortable for you. I am just going to eyeball it and use my little mat here and glue it. Glue it. And again, I'm going to use the little lines on the mat just so I know that they're kind of going to be even. There we go. Just burnish that down a little bit. And now we have the cover. So we're going to put our 2 pages in and make a pocket. So these are the 2 pieces that are scored at 5 1/4 and 5 1/2, and I'm just going to go ahead and burnish those. And now we are going to glue these in. Now this little section is 1/4 of an inch. And this section here, of course, is 1/2 of an inch. And I don't know how easy it is to kind of see those score marks. But basically, we're going to take our 1/4 of an inch and we're going to just put it on the right-hand side of this 1/2 inch. So it's just going to kind of lay in the groove here and lay flat and make a pocket. So it looks like that. So I'm just going to take a little bead of glue, and I just start with this spine piece. I just like to glue it just a little bit down, just in case I have to move it around or reposition it. That doesn't have a whole bunch of stuff that I have to pull apart. It just popped out. I guess there was not enough glue. Try that again. So here you can see the a quarter of an inch of that spine here on this side, and then we covered up the other half with this little spine here. So for this little guy, we are just, and it's looking like this so far, but we're just going to glue the top and the bottom, just one little bead of glue along the top and one along the bottom, so that we can make our little pocket. There's our pocket. Nothing fancy, but we can fit a whole bunch of stuff in there once it dries. So now we have the pocket and this page. And basically we do the same thing with this piece. It's going to lay on this right hand side here in the little groove, and we can definitely make a pocket if we want to. You'll notice in mine, I didn't make the pocket. I just decided that I wanted to add a couple extra pictures or, you know, mats for pictures. So I just glued down this particular piece here, but it goes in the exact same way. So if you wanted to make this into a pocket, you could put, you know, you'd have a place to even slip photos in if you wanted to. But I'm going to glue it down. Again, though, I start with just the spine piece, just so it's easy to manipulate. Just so it's easy to pull apart if I have to pull it apart. There we go. Glue that down. Now, you can still see half of that little spine piece is there showing, just like we want it to. And instead of just gluing this at the top and bottom, I'm going to glue the whole thing down. And basically our base is done. The third piece of our 8.5 by 11 is to create that little flip in the middle of the book. Ooh. So this piece, of course, you want to mat it. If you want to give it that a little more finished look, you want to mat this page first and then put in this piece. But it is simple. It is a piece of whoops. It is a piece of 8.5 by 4 1/4. And then you just score it down the middle to make a 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 booklet style. So you can also, these are so easy to make and pretty quick that I feel like you can make a few of them to keep them on hand and then just use whatever scraps. You could use, you know, 2 or 3 scraps of 12 by 12 to cover an entire book and make some little photo cards, photo mat or journaling cards. So definitely, you know, you can use this to bust out the end of the stash that you don't use when you make a larger album or when you mass produce cards and things like that. This just glues down right in here once we start matting our pages. And so usually when I go ahead and pre-make bases, I'll just put any of the extra little parts in the pocket. That way I know that they are there for when I'm ready to cover the book. So let's see. So here's the one we made today. And really the paper does all of the work for you. I still am not decided on if I'm going to put that cut apart, even though I kind of fussy cutted it. Not sure which way it goes, like that. But I think I'm just gonna let it sit for a while and then I'll decide. So I'll probably put this in the pocket as well. Maybe it needs something that's not color. Maybe if I cut this. Who knows? And I definitely see some card bases with all of these little strips in my future, because they definitely will make some really cool kind of just piece. I love paper piecing, so they will make some really cool backgrounds, I think. So that's what I have for you today. Thank you all for joining me. You think so? I think so. That's what I was doing earlier. Just with the plain colors, maybe. I'm gonna think on it. I'm gonna decide. Oh. These colors aren't even the same, even though they're really close. I could even cut them down thinner, and then they would look less chunky. Something like that, maybe. I see it. Just kind of break it up a little bit. I think you're right, Rita. I like the way these colors too are like pretty close to each other, but not exactly close to each other. And it adds to that that stripe. Thanks everyone for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this little mini, and I will have a tutorial version of it on my channel sometime soon. In the next couple weeks, I'm going to be doing more alcohol ink, what I'm calling experiments, because I'm still not used to it. I also pulled out the wax seals today, so I'm going to be playing with some of the new stuff that I have for making wax seals, and hopefully not catching anything on fire, and of course some cards and another multi-part mini album that I'm working on here soon. If you have a second and you're still around and you liked this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. That really helps my channel. I am trying to get to 1,000 by the end of the year. It is a super lofty goal, but it just might happen. So any comments or likes help me be able to achieve that goal. Like this, like this. love it. Thanks, everybody. Huh. Maybe you have to hit the notification bell again, like turn it off and turn it on. But I'm glad that you found me, because I don't think this would have happened. I wouldn't have had it completely done without you. Thank you, Rita. Thank you very much. Everyone have a great day. If you're in the U.S., happy Labor Day. I hope you get to rest today. And I will see you very soon in another video. Thanks, everyone.